On this episode of Turning Point Tactics, I'm doing yet another product review for GG Easy and his amazing range of 3D printed items that I think are really, really helpful for you to be able to get the most out of Killteam, improve your speed of play and all that sort of stuff, whilst also being competitive and making sure you're accurately measuring what you need to measure. So I'm going to go through each of these items. I'm going to talk about the 1-inch control range markers, the steppers, the new measuring stick that's coming out, the sort of revised measurement sticks that you have here, as well as an update to the main box that we have to be able to let you hot swap your miniatures in as well as another thing for the Koptic circle. So with all that said, let's get straight into it. Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Killteam 40k YouTube channel focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to seize initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan, and I'm here to help give you the tips and tricks to elevate every part of your Killteam experience. So no matter if you're a casual or a competitive player, there should be something here for you. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there's a few ways you can go about doing so. You can join the Patreon, where you get access to members only Discord, Patreon priority questions, early access to content, exclusive content, and tournament awards. Or if you find yourself buying Killteam goodies or hobby supplies, you can use one of our affiliate links in the description below, or discount codes with Crossfire Games and GG Prints. We're always keen to hear your thoughts and feedback, so don't leave that comment box empty. Let us know what you think. Once again, thanks for your support, and with all that said, let's get into it. Okay, so I'll start with the easy stuff. Koptic Circle have come out, and now the need for 50mm steppers has become a thing, right? Because they have loads of 50mm models. We know that obviously there's a Technomancer previously, there's a Patriarch, but now there's also all of basically the Koptic Circle models of 50mm, and that means that having these in your repertoire are going to be really useful, because often accurately measuring the 50mm is important, because 50mm, one of the main issues with 50mm is its ability to get around terrain, and they have a way to solve that with molecular breach, but if they haven't used it, then this is going to actually let you check that you can get the movement that you want to be able to get around items that are necessarily getting in the way. So it's got a few different options. One is like a 3-inch straight line, one is like a 2-inch one where you place the model in here and you place the model here and it moves 2 inches. It's quite nice and easy. All these individual steppers. I'm personally a big fan of individual steppers. I like to sort of build out the route and make sure I accurately measure where they go. But yeah, essentially the point being is steppers are a massively important tool in Killteam. I think they're hugely underrated. Every time I play a competitive game and I bring out the steppers, pretty much every competitive player goes, "Oh, that's really cool. Where do I get those?" So the answer is nice and simple. You can get them in the description below for GG Easy, and you can save yourself 10% by using the code TPT10. So you'll be able to save yourself some money, support the channel, and also improve your game with some steppers. So they do these for 25mm, 32, 28s, 40s, all the base sizes are good to go in here. So for Koptic Circle, get yourself some of these. But there's another thing you need if you're playing Koptic Circle, in my opinion. And it's a similar product to what the Raveners need as well. So if you're doing a matrix and you're trying to get the maximum out of your matrix, and you want to make sure it's really obvious where your matrix lines are, then having some really nice themed and quite colourful and pretty matrix markers, node markers, are probably the way to go, right? So I now realise that matrix is so large, I'm going to struggle to be able to get it to fit on the screen. But essentially what these are is they're a method of being able to accurately measure where your matrix is. So if you take your 20mm tokens, and I've got some cool various WTC tokens that we use. So you take these and you place down your marker, and then you can accurately measure where you want your matrix to be. This is useful, again, because I think when you first place down your matrix, you're going to want to make sure that actually you've put it somewhere where it's in a good place, where the measurements are correct. I recommend using a bit of blue tack personally on the markers, and you can now see with perfect accuracy where this matrix is, right? Whereas if you're trying to measure between markers, you're trying to figure it out, you're not quite sure if it's there or not, and you're trying to measure through terrain, whatever, then it's just really difficult. Whereas you can place something like this, you can put terrain over the top of it, and it's there. I do understand that when you're going to moving these around quite a bit, if you use every turning point, you're moving them. They're a bit more flexible than you are with, say, the Raveners, but still it's really, really useful to be able to quickly say, yep, cool, I'll put that there, and I'll put my next one. I think I actually want it to be over here, and that's where I'll place it. And I think I want this one to move potentially over here, so I'll place it like this. And it just gives you a quick reference rather than trying to measure and place, measure and place, measure and place. So for me, these are things that help speed up the game. I think it's nice that they're sort of thematically matched to your team. So you've got a really cool geomancer head and the the various Necron symbols. I think they look very pretty. They come in a really impressive, actually, which I was quite surprised by, but how cool this is a little protective sheath, right? So you put them in there, and you can store them between games. They don't get bent or anything like that because they're now locked up in here with a little lid. So I think this is a really nice little thing to have. I think it's a massive way of improving your game as Koptic Circle. The steppers plus these are going to mean that you're way more accurate with your measurements. It's way easier to see what's going on the board. You're less likely to forget that your matrix is there. You're less likely to make a positioning error because your matrix isn't necessarily obvious. And you're less likely to get your rules wrong, right? So I personally, big fan of these. I think you'll use them a lot in Turning Point 1. You'll then, as the game progresses, you might take some of these away to be able to get them under terrain where you need it to be. But most of the time, it's going to be really useful. And you can slide it under the walls in Tomb World and that sort of stuff to be able to see where your matrix extends to, assuming you can measure through an open hatchway or something like that. So I think these are a must-buy, in my opinion, if you're playing Koptic Circle and you want to improve a game. So you can check those out on the GGD store for them as well. So we're not done there, though, because he has more products that he's been releasing. So he's got more measuring sticks. And actually, this is just a few. This is the selection. I think these are the ones that I will use most commonly. But you have everything out to 12 inches if you want to. And it's just a thinner, easier to use measuring stick based on whatever you want to have. So for me, there's like often it's just times where I want to have like a 2-inch engagement range measurement and having something that's 2 inches and is quite small to be able to get through doorways and that sort of stuff to check, can I get within 2 inches of you there? Can you hold that for me? And then you can actually see the placement. I think it's quite useful because the other tool that I use is the measurement stick, which is 1 inch at the end, but it's harder for me to do 2 inches because you're then trying to measure essentially like this from the groove. And I find it just easier to have a slightly smaller measurement stick for that respect. Usually what I end up doing is using the triangles. So I end up using something like this because it's the 2 inches on the end. But again, like this is quite large, whereas this is a little bit easier if it's a fiddly location to be able to get to, or you can't if you want to try and put it through a hatchway or a doorway. So for these, like I'll probably keep the small ones and the ones that are slightly less common sizes. So you've got a 5 inch, you've got a 4 inch. So if you have a certain aura, which is going to be relevant. So I don't know, let's say that you're doing a lot of plant banner, say, and you want to make sure you're measuring 5 inches quite easily, where you can chuck one of these out and you can say, yeah, I'll measure that from the side of the board, and now I know where my banner can go as an example tool or a use of a tool. Or you have a 4 inch aura, whatever it is going to be, right? So I think these are useful. They don't take up a huge amount of room. You can chuck them in your Killteam kit, and it gives you an option to do some more precise measurement, which is exactly what we want in Killteam, right? Trying to make the imprecise as precise as possible going forwards. So on the subject of measurements, I'll show you the updated measurement ruler, which is really cool. I really like this. So this is done in Koptic colours, so the silver and the green, to try and promote the new Koptic launch. I think it's really, really smart. The quality is really good for this product. I've actually got a couple now. I've got my personal one. This is the old edition. And essentially the breaking point for it is here. So you would start 2 inches up, and that's where this would start sliding. But what I found is that I often wanted to be able to do a 10-inch measurement, and this only gives you 9 inches of measurement, which is still pretty good, right? Because having a measuring stick that gives you 9 inches or 6 inches or 7 inches or 8 inches, whatever you need, all in one place is pretty good. And it's a bit of a fidget spinner, so it's like fun to play with if you're thinking about stuff in the tournament. Anyway, I wanted 10 inches. So the revised design now has 10 inches, which is absolutely awesome. So you see here, it extends a bit further. And one of the sort of the feedback points I got from a lot of people when I was playing against them is they couldn't quite understand what I was doing because they didn't understand the measurements that I was using. So this is now a really clearly shown measurement system rather than the dice. But you can have a different style if you prefer. But the next stage is actually underneath where the locking magnet is it then shows you that this is now a 7-inch measurement. And if you extend, it shows you it's an 8-inch measurement. And if you extend, it's a 9-inch measurement. And it extend again, it shows you it's a 10-inch measurement. So that's just a really clever and easy way to be able to see where exactly you are. And you can see the grooves for if you need a 4-inch or whatever that's like clearly labeled. And this at the bottom is 1 inch here as well, if you need to measure 1-inch engagement range, something like that. But I find this super useful. I think it speeds up the game massively, because when I'm there trying to say, let's say I've got my standard Games Workshop 6-inch measurement tool, right? And you're trying to figure out, okay, I need to measure if that guy is within 8 inches. So with this tool, I just go up to 8 inches and then I measure. With this tool, I'm going to go, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll get this, I'll then get my 2-inch measurement stick, and I'm going to try and hold them together and balance them, make sure that I get them as like on the models, and then check, see where it is. And you're constantly moving this one, you're constantly moving that one, you're not quite sure where it is, and then maybe you realize that you've missed up, and you go, oh, actually it's inaccessible, I need to go down by 1 inch. And now you're trying to get the new 1 inch on, you go, oh, it doesn't quite work like that, and that's what you're trying to do, right? Whereas on this, I'll be talking through my opponent, I go, this is my charge range, 8 inches, and they go, oh, don't forget you've got that accessible thing. Yep, you're right, cool. And I just slide it and adjust. And I think that's such a quick way of improving like your ability to quickly interact with the game and the game rules, that it's going to save you time and make it way better for you to be able to interact with the game. So check out the new version of the measuring stick. I think they're really, really cool. I highly recommend them. They're not very expensive in the grand scheme of things, and if it saves you time during a tournament game, then it's worthwhile in my book. So they sort of stick together, and they fit in most of the Killteam boxes, so which is really nice. So those are the measurement sticks. Next up, the other tool that they have released is these engagement range markers. So in the same way that we have steppers to be able to accurately measure the distances of stuff, like I often found that the steppers were getting in the way a little bit. I actually want them to do an even thinner one of these, like the same thickness as an objective marker. But that's like the next iteration, I guess. But when you're doing your steppers and you go, yep, cool, my model is going to move 3 inches, and then it's going to move another 4 inches, and then it's got this engagement range, whatever, you can then see where that engagement range is. And the reason why this can be useful is if you're trying to like figure out if you can get cover on something, you can then see if you're actually going to be able to get the cover line that you're expecting based on the use of these little tools. So just a little 1 inch marker. As I said, you have them for each individual size. When you're using steppers, you can combine them together to be like, yep, put your steppers out, then chuck that on the end of it, and you can see where your 1 inch engagement range goes. I think, again, so talking about future improvements of stuff I'd love to see for Killteam is one of these, but as I said, it's like a central circle here that's actually like full thickness, and then underneath it's a objective thick bit of 3D printing. Because if you had that, then you could also check your spacings for models for double charges, right? So one of the things that you want to do is go, cool, well, if a model ends up there, well, I want to make sure my model is over here, and then on the other side, my next model is going to be over here, so I can't be double charged. But these are all future tools that I'm trying to get to, as I said, make it easier to measure stuff, make it easier to play the game, and speed up your game and make it so your game's more accurate and more precise. Cool, but we're not done there. There's even more stuff that has been announced and released. So I've shown these boxes previously. This is the GG Easy box, where essentially you have all of your tokens, you have space for steppers, you have space for dice, you have the scorecard and all that sort of stuff. But what they've done is release a brand new carry tray. So everyone knows that I was playing Warp Coven, and I have the access to this Warp Coven carry tray, right? So the issue that you often find with these boxes, in my opinion, is if you have a really tall model, they don't actually have the height, right? So they end up sticking out above this this lip, and that means that they get crushed if you try to put a lid on them. So there's two different boxes, and these boxes are designed so they can like kind of present your team nicely. So they have a door, they have windows, that sort of stuff. And the two options are, one is you have this magnetic plate on the side so that your taller models can rest on their side, and then therefore not exceed above the top of the box, which is really nice. So you just have it like that, and you can see that they're all now neatly tucked in there. But let's say that you're playing, you want to carry, all of this is your essentials, right? So this is everything you're going to take, every single game you're going to have in here. But your team might change, right? Because let's say you've been playing Warp Coven a little while now and you're bored of them and you want to upgrade to a much better, more fun team. Well, you could just take this box out, you can put it over there, you can get rid of it. you can get your new box in a slightly different style with a team that's way better, less heretical and more fun to play, like this, say, Deathwatch team. And you can see how here the different style, they have windows on both sides, a bit more of a presentational style, and all it does is slides nice and neatly straight into your box. So you have this hot swap box system where each of these you can have for your kill team. Maybe if you are going out and buying kill team specific tokens, I recommend Crossfire Games. If you are, they do some really nice specific kill team tokens. Well, actually you have in here the ability to place all of your kill team specific tokens with your kill team, and then you can lock that up and keep it all together. And essentially that now becomes a team that you can have on your shelf at home, and you can just pick it up and go with it, right? So like, how cool is that? If you have a tall team, then I suggest you get the one which has the magnetic wall on this side, so you can put them so they don't get crushed. But like, what a cool method of being able to quickly hot swap out teams and put a new, better Deathwatch team into your kill team box, ready to play at your next tournament. As easy as that, and keep all of your other stuff the same. So you don't have to have loads of different boxes. You just have one of these boxes for each of your kill teams. As you fill up, you then do that. And each of these boxes also, I should say, for when you're at home, well, they stack on top of each other. So all of these boxes can just stack up. You can then move them. You can have them on your shelves, and you have access to these really easily. So I think that's a really cool little product. I think it's really useful for people to be able to stack up their teams and be able to, as I said, quickly switch out between them whilst keeping all your core essentials the same. So that is my review for some of the latest GG Easy Prints products. As I said, if you're interested in any of these, I highly recommend you check them out. You can go onto the website in the description below, follow the link there, and it'll give you 10% off. Or if you get to the checkout, you can use the code TPT10, and you're going to save yourself a bit of money. You're going to support the channel, and you can get yourself some really useful equipment and stuff to be able to improve your game, speed up your game, make your tournament ready, and make sure you have all your models available the way you need them to be. Hope that's been useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you can get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Just drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan, this has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.